Hey, good morning everybody on the internets and Facebook. This is Blind Justice on the streets of Aberdeen, Washington. Day 9 of our Resting is Not a Crime peaceful protest here. And sitting outside of City Hall once again. And there's a change today. So, last update we had for the page, I think, was an email that we shared, made public, that we sent to Eric Larson, the mayor here, and it was basically the contents, you can read it somewhere on the page, but the contents basically addressed some of the issues that we were going to try to address in person yesterday, but he wasn't in, and that was after 4 p.m. We waited up there for 20, 30, 40 minutes, so the video cut off like when we went in the elevator. I guess when we went up it lost signal, and which was okay because he wasn't in. But we sat in the council meeting room for a while and had a real pleasant conversation with another member of the Aberdeen Police Department, and very enjoyable conversation with that gentleman. And thank you again for pulling up a seat. He wanted to talk for a little bit, and then he pulled up a seat and we chatted about some of the issues, and had an agreement on basically everything we were discussing, which is what we've been talking about the last 9 days on this page. But for weeks now, we've been talking about it here at City Hall and trying to get the council people to listen. So that was pleasant. While we were sitting there, Patrice, the city attorney, came out and informed us that Eric wasn't going to be in today, but we could make an appointment for follow-up or email. So we emailed Eric what we were wanting to talk about, and yesterday evening, and we haven't heard anything back from that. When we get the reply, we'll post it on the page so you guys know what his response is to that. So day 9, and since that was the last encounter we had with City Hall, was near close of business here yesterday. We did ask Patrice if he was still looking to sign, or what his plan was, and she said that as far as she knew, that was still his intent. But she was gonna, Eric was going to draft a memo, probably with legal counsel help, to send to the APD to give them clarification, administrative clarification on how to enforce the ordinances. So I asked if that was going to be made public, and she said she was unaware if Eric was going to publish it. So either way, if they come out front and publish the memo that he's going to draft to the APD, great. That's them taking the initiative with transparency for the public. If not, we'll do another public records request, and then get that memo to publish so everyone can be aware of what the explicit guidelines for the APD for enforcement of these ordinances are. So that's the last we heard on that. So because that was yesterday, and yesterday was the kind of expiration date, or the 8-day mark as far as the code goes here, I'm assuming that the ordinances are now passed. So they have to pass through the council, right? And then they have to pass through the mayor, which it's done those two things, I'm assuming, unless he had a last minute change of heart and sent it back to the council. And then the third thing is it has to be published. So, and I'm guessing that publication is going to be in the AMC. So there's links all over the page from yesterday's encounter of people trying to find the different codes regarding signs. So I believe it's going to be under the sidewalks section, and there's a search option, which is really cool, on that page that they have, that you can look at the Aberdeen Municipal Code. So there's a search option. You can search in for sidewalks, or lying down on sidewalks, and you should be able to find it relatively easy to see if it gets published today, because Patrice, the city attorney, said it goes into effect when it's published. It has to hit those 3 things: council approval, mayor approval, and then publication. Once that happens, it's in effect. And that was the gentleman from the APD that was there talking with me had that question too. So wait, it's enforceable once it's published, right? And she verified that. So that's what we're waiting on to see if they publish today. I would assume it's going to happen today. You would imagine they've already have the wording and everything drafted. All they have to do is just click the button that makes the link pop up on the website. So stay tuned to that. We'll have people check on that throughout the day and keep you updated as we find out more. But since that's the case, since we're expecting this to be in effect today, the manner, or not really the manner, the yeah, I guess manner works, of the protests has kind of shifted. So as you notice, there's no signage today. Here we go. The infamous planter boxes, so precious soil. That's someone has said is more precious than, or the soil has more freedom than the people here. That the soil can sit undisturbed, but not the people. So that's interesting. But so we didn't bring signs out today. Instead, this is going to be a peaceful protest without signs, an act of civil disobedience, right? Because the ordinances that are passed and supposedly going into effect today are unconstitutional. So we'll see what happens with that. We do have some cards that we printed out. Thanks, shout out to the so these little cards. I got a stack of them in my pocket. Thanks, shout out to the Timberland Library across the street there for supporting the efforts of freedom by providing the materials to help educate public on their rights, on your rights, right? So the card, there's going to be a link to the card posted, a picture of it so you can see what it says. Basically it says that by sitting or lying on the sidewalk, I am demonstrating my First Amendment rights of free speech, freedom of assembly, and freedom to protest. So please don't, or please continue to uphold your oath and protect my rights, as I have explained it in a nutshell. The wording is on the card, you can look at it. So that's what we're doing now. We're gonna hand those out today on people sitting on downtown sidewalks, and help educate them, like, hey, these are your rights, these are constitutionally protected rights. The law enforcement officers swore oaths to the Constitution to uphold these very rights that you're exercising here. So just simply show them a card. If they tell you you need to move off the public sidewalk, if they tell you you're breaking the law. Now, if, and I'll be sure to explain that if you're blocking somebody's private property, or if you're blocking the sidewalk from traffic, like people impeding traffic that they can't pass, then they can ask you to move in those instances. But other than that, if you're not destroying property or leaving trash or stuff like that, which hasn't been the case, people have been actually cleaning up from what we've experienced out here. So we're gonna help educate the public and hopefully help you guys stay educated, and help the law enforcement keep their oaths. We're a firm believer in sticking to your word. So this is also a shout out to any law enforcement. If you would like to come out and sit in your time off and come out and sit on the sidewalk with us, please come out. I understand guys that are on duty have other things to do, guys and gals, but if you want to come out and protest these ordinances because of the sticky situation, the pickle that the mayor and the city council members have put you in, where they are essentially disregarding their oaths and demanding that you do the same. Those are unlawful orders, so you are duty bound to deny following and enforcing unlawful orders. So yeah, shout out to you guys. Every interaction we've had so far has been peaceful and a positive and in agreement with local law enforcement. And a handful have stated that they are unconstitutional, that these ordinances are unconstitutional. So we'll see now that enforcement day has come, if things get enforced, right? So stay tuned to that. A few other things I wanted to mention. There's a book and a video. It's a seminar. It's a way of communicating. It's called Nonviolent Communication. It's also known as Compassionate Communication. It's written by Dr. Marshall Rosenberg. So there'll be links here in this video to both the book and a YouTube, it's kind of old, an old video of an old seminar I think he did in California. But the gist of it is essentially of NVC is learning to communicate with people at the heart level, at the basic common level as a human, and recognizing the communication. So we've talked a few times while being out here that even the communication that we've been receiving from passersby, where they give us the gesture that my fellow protesters inform me when it's the finger, or when they wave, or a thumbs up, right? So if it's something like the finger, which has been usually taken as an aggressive or angry gesture, which is free speech, or obscenities or other things yelled, right, while people drive by. What NVC does with digging into NVC, we can hear that communication not as the superficial level of somebody yelling in anger, but as a fellow human who is expressing a please, a fellow human being who is expressing a request for a need to be met, right? It just happens to be a very distorted please, a very muddled please, right? So we can learn to listen past that layer and see, oh, this is actually another human being that's taken the time to engage with me, another human being, and love, right? Even though the communication may not sound very loving or very unskilled loving, it is still a form of loving. So that's your update for day 9. Stay tuned for further updates and news on what's going on with these ordinances today. Please come on out and support, share the page, share the information, and I wish you wellness today, and ease, and peace, and joy, and love, and life, and liberty. All right, Deo Presto Liber.